Welcome back for another Tuesday evening microgreens. Fell a little bit behind. Normally I would be harvesting a small amount on Monday night, but I didn't have my crops ready, and so I'm harvesting a little bit tonight. Normally I would only be planting tonight, but tonight I have to do both. I have to harvest and I have to plant. So what I have to harvest though is I have to make a nice little mix. I have a restaurant that every week they just want a small mix. They only want 4 containers usually. It's 2-ounce containers. And so what I'm going to do is harvest up this hydroponic radish. I'm going to throw that in there. I've got some beets that it's just a small amount left in this tray. And also some amaranth that I'm going to throw in there. And then I might harvest the basic salad mix, but I'm going to see what I get out of this first. And if I think that's enough, then I'll stop, because the basic salad mix isn't quite ready yet. You could use it, it'd be fine, but you're not going to get a big yield out of it like I should. Even the radish, this is kind of premature. I'd like to give this another day or two, but I don't want to keep the customer waiting. I just soon finish it. Why don't I show you the pictures, though, of the side-by-sides of the hydroponic with nutrients versus the hydroponic without nutrients. And I will show you the radish and the basic salad mix right now, so you can check that out. They're between nutrients and not nutrients, which is actually pretty cool that the hemp mats I'm growing on seem to be working quite well. From what I'm seeing, you don't really need nutrients with the hemp mats, although they are a bonus, they do help. So these are a little bit damp because I watered them pretty heavy yesterday. This is what I'm going to do. Sometimes I run into this, and what I'll do is I'll take a few paper towels. This is a bin. I've already sterilized it, cleaned it up, and my hands have been sterilized and cleaned, and so have my scissors. And because they're slightly damp, I'll just put a couple paper towels down here at the bottom of my bin. And I will just go along and I will harvest. This wasn't the best demonstration of growing radish because I let this dry up, which was a mistake. And so my harvest isn't going to be nearly as good as I would normally get. So normally radish, a good tray, nice healthy tray where I didn't, kill off anything by letting it dry up. Letting it go to full term, which for me would have been about 2 more days. You can expect, without any problem, 10 to 16 ounces per tray. In this case, this tray is probably closer to 8 ounces, 10 ounces maybe. So this is a light tray. So that about does it for the radish. I like to keep some paper towels handy, and I'll use those to wipe down my scissors in between, sometimes in the middle of the tray, sometimes just when I switch trays, and just keep my hands, somewhat clean. And there you go. You can see that this was a really light tray. It looks great though. So it's a nice harvest, light but nice. And I'll just kind of move it around. You guys probably can't see too well, but I'll kind of toss it a little and just kind of let some of that moisture wick into that paper towel. So now that I've got the radish all harvested from the tray, let's pull up this hemp and see what it looks like under here. I haven't done this yet, so look at that. Those are some beautiful roots right there. Yeah, this radish was growing fantastic. I give the hemp really high marks. By far, my favorite medium to grow on, other than soil, which the reason soil would trump it would be cost. And I'm more familiar with soil, so for me, soil radish is like, I don't even have to think about it. It's so easy. It was pretty easy with this as well, but it's still not quite soil for me. But as far as a a medium, a hydroponic medium to grow on. This is by far, in my opinion, better than the Coco Core I used, which I only used one type of mat, and also better than the BioStraight by a long shot. So I'm just going to set that aside. I have to go dump that. And what I normally do, and it probably doesn't matter, but when I'm harvesting and I'm making a mix like this, I usually will start with the heaviest microgreen on the bottom, and then I will start cutting up some of these other microgreens and throw those on top. It doesn't matter. I'm going to mix it all up. So let's see how these beets are. These beets are actually a little bit old. I mean, they're past what you would normally go to for a microgreen, but they're just fine and they're beautiful and they're going to look really good in this mix. So let's see what we got. I'm going to just go in and cut into a chunk. And so this is just the way it is when I'm harvesting beets. It's not easy. I mean, they're a struggle. So what I'll do is I'll get a handful like I just did, and I will then kind of do a little like this and just kind of shake and make sure there's nothing small, nothing loose in there. Try to get the best I can. Then I will flip it around and I will look for anything that's got a seed hole on it. And I will just yank the little seed hole off if I can find any. Because these went so long, there's not a whole lot of seed holes, but there are some. And there's always the chance I'm going to miss some as well. I think if you were doing just a package of just beets, it probably wouldn't be as big of a deal. But because I'm making a mix, I like that mix to be as clean as I can get it. Even though I tell people right on the package to wash, I know that restaurants probably are not washing them. And so for that reason, I like to make sure I just really do my best to get these as nice as I can get them. So that looks great. That's a good little handful right there. Let's kind of sprinkle those in. I'm always watching, again, for any seed holes. Sometimes I'll pop those off if I see them before I even cut in. Make it a little bit easier. This is why beets, for me, are such a premium product. It's labor intensive. I mean, this isn't easy. If you're going to harvest up a pound of these and have them be, you know, really clean, really nice beets without any seed holes or anything, doing it my way, it's going to take you all day to do a pound of these things. So that's why I don't do a ton of them. For me, they're a specialty item. I won't even let people order them, actually. I tell people that if I have them, I'll offer them to you, but I won't let you order them because I am not good enough at growing them to promise them and to guarantee that I'll be able to have them ready for you. It's easier to do that than it is to come up short, you know, and not be able to satisfy a customer with a promise you made. I find it's better to not make a promise and maybe exceed expectations than it is to make a promise and then not be able to uphold your end on that promise. So once again, that's a beautiful handful of beet greens right there. Dropping some. Shake those around in there. Always still kind of looking around for any seed holes. And I'm just going to speed this up and get these beets done and out of the way. So I think that was about good for the beets. There's a little patch left here, but there was actually just a little bit dying off in here. It wasn't worth dealing with it. Don't want to give a product that's not optimal. So going to get rid of that. I'm going to wash my hands again because you can see I've got beet fingers. So I'll get that off of there and then I'll harvest up this amaranth right here. Got my hands all cleaned up. And get some of this beet juice off my scissors. You can see that mix is looking great. Beets look good in there. Now for this amaranth. I'm going to harvest up this amaranth. I've got more than half of the tray or so I've already harvested before. And because of that, amaranth is pretty finicky. And if you cut an edge across amaranth, if you leave anything there at all, it will die off and into the amaranth. So I will leave probably a 1/2 inch or so of this edge, and it'll just be waste. And the rest of it, though, should look really good. Let's see. This feels like good quality amaranth. I'd say that's pretty good. In the mix it goes. Amaranth, by far, probably one of the most difficult microgreens to grow. I have had a good run lately. I've had some excellent trays of amaranth, and this just happens to be one of those really good trays. So what I'm doing when I cut the amaranth, I'm doing a little bit of quality control. So I'm kind of looking around, making sure if there's nothing in here I don't like. And every now and then you'll find maybe 1 or 2 that are just not optimal. And I try to ensure they don't make their way into the mix. And if I start seeing a lot of that anywhere, I'll just not even bother with that section. It's not worth dealing with it. It's not worth possibly passing on a crop to your customers that you're not happy with. So that's going to do it for the amaranth. I started running into a little area that was kind of had some damping off in it. And like I said, at this stage, it's not even worth dealing with it. This tray was around longer than it should have been. Probably a week ago would have been ideal to harvest it, but you can keep amaranth around for a while. But you can see there was a couple areas here that I wasn't happy with, so I didn't even try to deal with it, just toss it. This is really in the mix mostly to add some real bright color. I wouldn't normally do beets and amaranth, but I don't have a lot of product right now, so I'm trying to come up with something here. I only got to get a small amount, but I got to get it. So now I'll just take and I will shake it all up. Let's get everything all nicely mixed up. So what I ended up with here is a really nice, bright, colorful mix. So I'm going to set this aside, and I am going to clean up my area, sterilize my bench, get out my scale and my some packages and start weighing this up, packaging it up. So I've got my scale out, got my empty container. I use up to zero out the scale, got my date stamp and some clamshells, Gen Pack 16 ounce. You can find these on Amazon, Webstront, wherever. Maybe I'll put a link in the description for you. And I am going to just start loading up my clamshells. So the goal is to get right around 2 ounces in each package. And that's probably kind of close. 1.95. So just give a little dab more in there. 2 exactly. And so, like I said, these are slightly damp. They're not too bad, but they are damp. So I'm going to leave the lids open for now, and I'm going to place them in the refrigerator with the lids open for about 30 minutes or so, and let a lot of that condensation just escape. And then I will seal the lids on. So for now, I'm just going to set that aside and go on to my next one. So that's a really good tip. But people ask all the time, how do I handle that my microgreens are damp or whatever? And that's what I tell people to do. I mean, if you don't want to have to dry them with fans and a screen or whatever, letting the refrigerator do that works great, or your cooler, whatever you're using. Just a hair more. Good. Now, in saying that, when these dry up a little bit in the fridge, they may not be exactly 2 ounces anymore, but they'll be close enough for me. I don't think anybody's going to complain that they got, 0.1 ounces less than they expected. Especially with quality greens like this. I mean, these are way over the top for what you would expect for what I'm selling them for. This should be, in all honesty, probably a $20 container. and I'm only selling them to the restaurant for $6. But I don't always provide a green of quite this brightness and this quality. So some weeks maybe it really is a $6 container. Other weeks maybe it's a $20 container like these really are. But in any case, I'm happy, they're happy. So that one's actually over, but we're just going to let it be over. So I've got a little bit more here than I really needed, which is good. I would just assume give people more than they were expecting than less. Especially when I had such a small order. That one's 210. There's a little more here, so I'm just gonna go along and I'm just gonna put more in each of these, so they will be more than a lot more than they were than a 2-ounce container, because I don't have anything to do with this remainder anyways. So that's all the way up to 2.5 ounces right there. That's nearly 2.5 ounces as well. So that's going to do it. I've still got some residual in there, but I'm not going to try to do anything with that. I'm just going to roll up those paper towels, and I will sanitize this bin for next time. So the packages are in the refrigerator, and they're just chilling, pun intended. And I figured, why not show a little bit of labeling? I've probably shown this a bunch of times, but not everybody sees every video. So I keep getting asked some similar questions, and that's fine. I don't mind showing. So what I have here, these are Avery labels, and you can buy these as a Staples brand. You can buy them whatever. In this time around, I bought them as Avery, and I use the Avery app to make the labels. And these used to be a label I would print in color, but that was mostly because I was selling in stores. And since I'm no longer in stores because it wasn't worth it for me personally, restaurants don't care if there's color on the label. A lot of times they don't even care if there is a label. But so this is my Chef's Blend label. And so I'm going to show you. It so happens I have 4 of them printed here, which is perfect because that's how many I'm delivering. I'll just set my date stamp. To December 3rd, but I think it's actually the 4th. Alright, so I have a harvested on date, or harvested on section here, and I'm just going to stamp right next to that. And then when my packages are done chilling, I will seal them up, I'll slap the labels on, and they'll be good to go tomorrow. So I think that's going to do it for this video. I know it was, I didn't get to planting. I'm going to still do some planting, but I'm not going to record it. It takes me about 10 times longer to do anything when I'm recording, and I am out of time. So I'm going to let you guys go with that. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you guys like my Tuesday updates I do kind of every other week, it seems like lately. And yeah, keep watching, keep checking back. I'll keep sharing. Thanks.